Welcome to Hawk's Eye View, Waltham High's source of news. I'm Ryan Landry.
And I'm Daniel Burke. This week we have new activities and new clubs that might interest you guys in and around Waltham High School.
First up, we have Ryan and CJ talking to you guys about Fall Fest, which is coming up quick.
Let's go check it out.
Thanks, guys. Today we'll be talking about Fall Fest. We'll be talking to the people who run it, and we'll be talking to people who might be going. Let's check it out. Why did you start Fall Fest?
So Mr. Burns and I started Fall Fest going on 3 years ago as a way to help the kind of school come together, make an activity first thing in the year for freshmen to come to, all the clubs to come to, help them do a little bit of fundraising, but more so just promote school spirit.
What goes on there?
So usually every club will have a table, and they'll either be selling stuff or doing different fall activities with students, with younger families throughout the community. Sometimes we have a petting zoo. We had a cornhole tournament the last couple years, so it's been pretty awesome.
When is the Fall Festival?
October 28th from 11 to 2.
Why did you start Fall Fest?
We started Fall Fest because we thought that there was a great parallel to Spring Fest in the spring. It'd be a great opportunity for clubs and sports teams and kids to get together at the end of the nice weather and maybe raise some money for their clubs and teams and have a good time outside while we still can.
How long has it been running?
This is going to be our third year doing it. I know that there's been other Fall Fests within the community, and I know that years ago there was some students and some classes that had fall-related activities, but this is the Freshman Mentors' third year doing Fall Fest. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff going on. In fact, there's still time for clubs to sign up to host a booth. One of the things that has happened in the past is a cornhole tournament, and our vocational students are making the cornhole boards and bags. The winners of the tournament get to take the bags home, which is really fun and awesome. There's going to be a petting zoo. We're hopefully going to have some live music or some groovy tunes to dance to. There's a costume contest. We're having some students pull together the haunted house, which is always a blast every year. There's going to be food and drinks and festivities for everybody.
When's Fall Fest?
Fall Fest is Saturday, October 28th from 10 to 2, 11 to 2. Be there or be square. It's going to be a blast.
All right, thank you.
Hey, thanks you. Also,
Have you ever gone to Fall Fest?
No, but I've heard about it.
Have any of your friends gone? What do they think about it?
From what I've heard, I think it's a pretty fun experience. People should definitely be going.
Thank you. Fall Fest?
No, I haven't gone to Fall Fest.
Have any friends went? What did they say about it?
A lot of my friends have went, but they said it was alright. So they said it was kind of fun.
Seems like Fall Fest is going to be fun. Go check it out, October 28th, 11 to 2. Back to you guys in the studio.
Nice work, guys. I personally am looking forward to Fall Fest.
What's amazing about it is that some activities will actually raise funds for the school in the near future.
All right, next up we have Will and Raph, who are interviewing Miss Connors on health education.
Specifically on the risks and guidelines on drug usage.
Take it away, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We decided to go investigate drug use and how teachers and officers feel about them at the high school.
Let's check it out.
We haven't planned any initiatives in a while to combat the drug use. It's an ongoing situation where we're always informing and trying to educate the students. In the past, we have gone to parent-teacher meetings where we've spoken to senior parents, especially of the consequences, but nothing is on the agenda at this time. Definitely we would take a proactive role in the drug use here at the school. So definitely the education to the kids. We enjoy getting into the health classes where we can kind of, elaborate on what we see from our experiences from drug use. The education, kids need to know, what personally could affect their body from the use of the drug. And, just attending student against destructive decision meetings educating them and informing them of like real life scenarios that we have to deal with, of how it goes from, you know, recreational use to having a habit, having an addiction, and what could lead to incarceration. Absolutely. A couple years back, marijuana has been decriminalized. And now there are certain amounts of pot plants that you can possess yourself. There is a certain amount of weed that is no longer an arrestable offense. And I believe that a lot of students have the misnomer that it's okay now because it's been decriminalized. We have gotten in front of the City Council requesting that they have a city ordinance where if somebody is under the age of 18 and they're caught with marijuana still, that there still could be criminal charges for that. No longer are there criminal offenses if it's less than an ounce. And an ounce is a pretty large amount of marijuana for a student to possess. So we just wanted to kind of see if there could be some more harsher punishments, fines, or, like I said, court involvement if people are in possession of the marijuana, because I think now kids have an idea that like, oh, well, it's decriminalized, it's okay, recreationally I can smoke it, and unfortunately we're still seeing, you know, OUIs from drugs and like diminished brain capacity from the use of marijuana. It's definitely have changed. What used to be marijuana when maybe your parents were using it back in the day, it has changed now. There's a lot more chemicals and stuff, and so it's concerning that so many people have that careless attitude towards smoking marijuana now and the effects eventually of what will take place.
Yeah, I mean, I taught psychology for a long time before I became a housemaster, so I taught a lot about drug use and how it affects your body. The biggest thing is that drugs impact the chemical makeup in your brain. You know, when that happens, any drug, whether it be marijuana, cocaine, something like that, affects brain chemistry. As a result, impairs judgment, makes us oftentimes lower inhibitions, can change personality traits, can change someone's mood and that sort of stuff. So the biggest impact that drug use has on anyone, adult, child, teenager, it will affect brain chemistry and how we interpret reality.
80% of addictions begin in the teen years. So the younger you start, the better your chance of becoming an addict. They also say that if you have gone till 20 years old and you've never touched an alcoholic beverage or you've never touched a drug, that you have a much better chance of not becoming addicted.
Students using drugs at a young age, it's a danger. The biggest reason is your frontal lobe, the big part of your brain that's in charge of like decision making, isn't fully developed until you're about 19 to 22. So if students are using drug use prior to that age, one, they could potentially stunt brain growth. They're killing brain cells necessary for decision making. But also the biggest factor is long-term effects of that use at an early age. The long-term impact of drug use at an early age could be something that students can't recover from if they start using drugs way too early in life and are abusing those drugs in the process.
Unfortunately, now the more common, I feel like as I've been here, drugs have become more common. So I've been hearing a lot more common nicknames. I hear grass a lot, I hear weed, I hear smoke trees a lot. For cocaine, I hear blow, I hear sugar. Heroin, I hear smack, horse. A lot of times if kids are doing acid, they'll say they drop a tab, Molly. That's just a few that I can actually think of.
So, do I feel marijuana is a gateway drug? When I was a student here in health class with Mr. Hallie, we teach about drug use, and I taught it in psychology as well. It's a yes and no answer, and I hate to be ambivalent and not give you a direct answer, but for some people it would be a gateway, depending on the effects the drug has on them. Marijuana certainly could be a gateway drug to something more potent and more dangerous. At the same time, you read medical research that suggests some people can benefit from the THC in marijuana for medical purposes. I'm not a doctor, I don't have evidence to support that, but for some people, could marijuana be a gateway drug? Absolutely, because the feel of the high, the rush accompanied with the drug use could lead to something more potent, or other people might be able to deal with it in a recreational way. So I can't give a direct answer, but it's more just my perception of how society sees that.
I definitely don't think that marijuana is the worst drug out there. However, I do believe 100% that marijuana is a gateway drug more than any other drug out there. I can speak from students that I've had in the past, or family members or friends that I've known who have been addicted, and everyone has always started with marijuana. And what usually tends to happen is they get sick of the high. The high gets old. They get sluggish, and they're more kind of like, sure, I'll have a pill. Or a lot of the times too, which is that getting even scarier, is a lot of the marijuana that is out there now is laced. And it can be laced with heroin, it can be laced with fentanyl, it can be laced with shrooms. So they think that they're just getting a bag of marijuana, but in fact they're getting other drugs with it, which can cause them to lead to other much more harmful drugs.
So the consequences for vaping versus drug use in school, they are a little different, both in the handbook and how the house masters interpret those rules. Vaping is a new rule to the handbook we're working with this year. It is more of a challenge we expected. A lot more students are vaping than had in the past. But the impact of vaping is still vague, medically speaking, and on our end, from a discipline standpoint. Drug use in the building is still a bigger punishment. Typically comes with a 3 to 5 day suspension, if not longer. Whereas right now, vaping typically is, depending on the offense, first, second, third offense, it's kind of a graduated scale of discipline. Could result in a Saturday school first offense, followed by suspension, and over continues a long-term suspension as well. So they're not equal in how we view them as a school, but the punishments apply for both drug infractions and for vaping infractions.
Man, I'm never touching any of that stuff.
Me neither, man. Remember to stay away from all those drugs, guys. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Raf, Will, and Ms. Connor for taking time to speak with us.
In other news, we have Kara and Jalen, who took the time to showcase a few of Waltham High's clubs on campus. Let's see who they met up with.
Today we had a chance to catch up with the video game club here at Waltham High and learned all about why you should consider joining.
So I'm Mr. Papastavro, the advisor for the gaming club. So we meet every Thursday from about 2 till 3:30. In the club, someone always brings in a computer to play some Overwatch. Otherwise we'll play either a combination of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, one of the Call of Duties, or if somebody brings in a Wii, we can play some Super Smash Brothers, my personal favorite. I think it's just a good time for all. Sometimes we'll have pizza or soda, or hold some video game tournaments, so I think people who usually show up enjoy themselves. So we're hoping to have another video game tournament sometime this year, so just keep an eye out for the morning announcements, and hope to see you there.
Hi, I'm Mohammed. I'm a sophomore at Waltham High. We just walked into the gaming club, and they're playing Street Fighter. Yeah, seems like a pretty cool club to join.
Hi, I'm Sofia Cordova. I'm part of the gaming club. What I like about gaming club is that there's a lot of diversity there, so I try to invite as many people as I can and let anyone come by. We don't just play video games, we talk, we get to know each other, we have lots of fun. We play, besides video games, we play board games. My favorite video game, I guess, could be Assassin's Creed. You should come.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to contact Mr. Papastavro if you're interested in joining the video game club.
Thanks, Kara and Jalen. And wow, I didn't realize we had that many clubs here.
Man, I hope sign-up sheets aren't too late, because I'd love to sign up for some of those.
As you all know, Waltham Public Schools took a big step this year in issuing Chromebooks to the Waltham High students.
Mikey and Derek took a further look into this new implementation.
Let's take a look.
Thanks, Dan and Ryan. Day's finally come. Chromebooks are ready.
We talked to some students and faculty on their thoughts of the Chromebooks.
Let's take a look.
I like to be able to look up some stuff on my Chromebook, like stuff to help me learn better.
I like how it folds into an iPad almost. I like how I can be typing at one point and then be scrolling at another point.
I like how you don't have to write everything. You can type all the stuff and it's less work on your hands.
I like how it comes with this protective case, so it protects my Chromebook.
I like Clever because it holds all my apps and it organizes it a lot, rather than just me looking through the whole computer trying to get to an app. I can just click on Clever and there's the app right there.
I hope to use it for educational purposes and projects to better my grade.
I hope to use it for mostly school needs, and maybe I can watch YouTube videos at my house.
I hope to use it for school projects, you know, making school projects a little bit easier, making school work a little bit easier. Then maybe going home and watching a few videos, watch a couple movies, I don't know.
A Chromebook is a laptop made by Google. A laptop is a computer that you can carry around from class to class and use on assignments that teachers do. I think most teachers are excited for the Chromebooks because it gives them more learning opportunities and more teaching opportunities in different technologies that the kids can learn and use to better themselves as human beings.
That's all we have this week for Chromebooks. I hope you guys enjoy them.
Back to you guys in the studio.
I can't believe Chromebooks are finally in. Ever since they've gotten in, there's been a buzz around the school.
Did you hear about Lovett?
No, what did Lovett do?
Lovett finished the Chicago Marathon. Jake and Jaden caught up with him. Let's go check it out.
Thanks, guys.
Today, Jake and I caught up with Mr. Lovett to learn about the marathon he ran in Chicago on October 8th.
We learned a lot about the preparation and hard work that goes into running a marathon.
Let's get into it.
So it's like a 3-month preparation process where you have a training schedule where there are shorter midweek runs. So it's like 3 days of the week you're doing a shorter run, and then a longer run on a Saturday or Sunday, and then you build up over time. So I always say that anyone can run a marathon. It's just you have to go through the training process because that's what sets you up to be successful and actually finish the race when the race comes. So it's a good 3 months of training runs and preparing yourself for the actual marathon day. So I decided to run the Chicago Marathon because I kind of miss doing marathons, as weird as that sounds. I ran Boston in 2013, the year of the bombing, and I was stopped a half mile short. So I ran the Boston Marathon again the next year and finished. And so that's 3 years ago now. And ever since then, I've kind of had the itch to get back into running marathons. And I figured Chicago was a good opportunity to do it, and they accepted. They accepted about 50% of their, random applicants. So I said, why not? Let's go for it. And I was accepted, and it was a really good experience. I think it was a pretty successful run. I had never been to Chicago. It was a really good experience. It was a great race, great course. It was very flat compared to other runs that I've had. So that was nice. It was a little bit hot, but battled through it. And I would say, yeah, definitely a successful run. Happy I did it. Great experience. And move on to the next marathon. Don't know which one it is yet, but I know, came through this one healthy and excited for whatever one comes next. I didn't necessarily set a time goal. I wanted to finish, I was hoping to finish around 4 hours and 30 minutes. When I finished the Boston Marathon, I ran it in 4 hours and 4 minutes, which was a really good time. But this training season, I don't think it was as successful as I wanted it to be. I wasn't able to do all the runs due to a variety of reasons. Busy start to the school year, coaching baseball over the summer. So it was a busy training season. So I really just wanted to finish. I ended up running it in 4 hours, 37 minutes. So I was happy with the time, but I wasn't shooting for any specific time. And there was also no shot at me winning. So finishing was really the goal.
That looked like a lot of fun.
Congratulations to Mr. Love and all the other runners in the Chicago Marathon.
Let's get back to the guys in the studio.
Mr. Lovett finished in 4 hours and 37 minutes. So make sure if you see him in the hallways, tell him congrats and good job.
Wow, that's crazy. That's like running for more than half school day.
Yeah, and last but not least, we have Garrett and Brendan with Athlete of the Week. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, guys. This Athlete of the Week is Caitlin Samios. We got a chance to catch up with her coach, and one of her teammates. Let's check it out.
So I do Players of the Game, and our Player of the Game for the girls soccer team last week was Caitlin Samios. Caitlin Samios is a senior, and this is her first year playing varsity. She's played JV for the past 3 years, and then she made the varsity team as a senior. In our Weston game last week, we had 6 players, including starters, who were out. So Caitlin Samios had to step up, and she played a lot of minutes. And when she was in the second half, she played a majority of the second half. Her play was highly commendable, and her teammates on the sidelines and teammates in the game were recognizing this. She was making great tackles, she was distributing the ball really well, making good decisions, and she was also communicating. So Caitlin Samios, she isn't a starter, and she doesn't play a significant amount of minutes in the games. But when she's called upon to play and when she does get in to give starters a rest, she gives it her all. She's always hustling, she's making good decisions, she's communicating with her teammates. When she's on the bench, she's taking stats, she's staying positive, she's giving good feedback to her teammates. But because she is a first-year varsity player as a senior, she hasn't had the experience. But in the Weston game, her play was just, it was needed, and she did great. Made good tackles again. Christina, I lost my train of thought because of the phone. But she made good tackles. She distributed the ball really well, and her teammates were commending her play. And I think that's huge. I think it's so important when your team calls upon you to step up, even if you haven't been in that role before, to step up and to give it your all and to give it 100%. And that's what Caitlin does when she's in the game, when she's at practice, when she's on the bench. She's embodying our team motto, which is now no opportunities wasted, and she doesn't waste any opportunities. She was given a big opportunity during the Weston game when we had 6 players out, including some starters, and she stepped up, and she was a powerhouse in the back. There was no one getting down the left side. She was playing on the right side, and no Weston players were able to beat her. So it was amazing to see, and because of her effort and because of her play in that Weston game, she's probably going to see more playing time in the games coming up. So she was kind of proving that, yeah, she was a great teammate, but she's also a really good player on the field as well. So that's why she was that player of the game.
So I think the major thing I bring to the team is positivity and encouragement. I don't usually get a lot of playing time, but I bring a lot of positivity and encouragement, and I always make sure my teammates are in good spirits and they're working hard and they're trying their best on the field, and that they know they're doing a good job. I keep really good stats on the sidelines, and when I do get in, I make sure that I'm trying my best, I'm working hard, and I'm making sure to get good defensive stops and work well with my teammates and encourage them while I'm on the field. In the Weston game, I got a lot of playing time in the second half, and I was able to make a lot of good defensive stops and shut down the other team's offense. I worked well with my other defenders, and we covered each other, and we worked really well to eliminate a lot of the other team's shots and send the ball up the field to make a lot of good offensive setups and opportunities. I made sure to encourage my teammates while I was on the field, and I got a lot of good tackles and shut down the other team's offense.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's Athlete of the Week. Tune in next week to find out next week's Athlete of the Week.
Good job, Garrett and Brennan.
And that's it for this week's episode of Hawk's Eye View.
Tune in next week for more information.
See you next time on Hawk's Eye View.